Started photographing it and thinking about how to describe those changes over time. And I tried a variety of different methods, including traditional film, video, different kinds of multiple image layerings. And then about 2011, I had a chance to try to take pictures of the river with this wet plate collodion process. It's a process that was invented in 1850, and it involves making photographs on glass. Actually, you have the option with the wet plate process of making them on metal or on glass. And if you want to make them on glass, you can have the option of making them as very faint negatives that become positive when you put them up in front of black, or you can make them as very dense silver negatives that you can print in traditional forms. I decided to make these sort of unique single image, or I should say unique positives called ambrotypes that are in the show. Because I thought that I hadn't seen any of these things before. Basically, I wanted to make stuff that I had never sort of encountered before. Started working on it, and the process itself is sort of ridiculously cumbersome and laborious and involved in the sense that you're home, I should say, you're hand making the photographs. They're made by hand on site. So the glass is prepared ahead of time by being very clean and polished and kept from getting too dusty, and I have to prepare different sort of sets of chemistry for the process to work a little bit ahead of time, and then bringing out to the field all the chemistry and plates of glass and a portable darkroom and my larger 8x10 camera. And sort of at the moment of making the picture, the plate has to be prepared and then exposed and then developed. And I love the fact that the process itself is very limited sensitivity. It doesn't see most of the visible light spectrum. It sees really only greens and blues, and it really sees ultraviolet. So what it sees is a range of energy that we don't actually wholly perceive. And so that as a photographer for 25 years, knowing what a black and white picture would look like when I went out and shot film, in this particular case, I really had no idea, or not a very full idea, of how the pictures would actually look before I made them. So every time I make pictures with this process, it's kind of a revelation. It's like I'm not sure what they're going to look like and what the tonal relationships are going to be like. The exposures are really long, and so that it's hard to tell how something's going to look when your exposures are anywhere from 10 seconds to 2 minutes. And the exposures have to be kind of guessed, so you never know if it's going to work out or not. There's all this wonderful kinds of uncertainty. So one of the things that I started to really like about it was the fact that the process drove me as much as I was driving it. The thing that I really loved about the discovery of the wet plate process was that it was a wet process that had all these unstable moments. As I poured chemistry over the plates and developed it up, it had these unstable, unpredictable kind of moments that are reflected in the plates themselves. You can sort of see the motion of the chemistry acting upon the surface. Not things that I can control, things that sort of happen of their own account. And that reminded me so much of the actual instabilities and the dynamic qualities of the rivers themselves. So they were kind of like, the plates became the embodiment in some ways, not just a description, but an embodiment of these dynamic systems.